After a dramatic finish in Lemoore, California, the WSL Championship Tour heads south to Punta Roca for the Surf City El Salvador Pro presented by Corona. Opportunities for results are dwindling. Only 4 events remain before the title-crowning Rip Curl WSL Finals. Carissa Moore sits in a commanding position at number 1 on the rankings, while the rest of the women try to seize results in order to secure their place on the leaderboard.
That's actually right there. And she nearly pulled the puck shove it.
American Griffin Colapinto wears yellow for the first time ever, heading into El Salvador, the event where he defeated Felipe Toledo in the final last year. Behind the Californian are contenders, world champions, and veterans looking to claim valuable rankings points for a shot at the 2023 world title. The fight for the WSL Final 5 rolls on here at the Surf City El Salvador Pro presented by Corona.
Welcome to El Salvador, site of stop 7 on the championship tour as we look at some of our rivals this morning at Punta Roca. Leonardo Fioravanti getting in the groove. Carissa Moore's here, wanting more from Punta Roca. Tricky entrance into the water for Jack Robinson over the cobblestones. Italo Ferreira looks like he's all warmed up and ready to go as we zoom in on our beautiful contest site for stop number 7, the Surf City El Salvador Pro presented by Corona. What a wonderful structure we have here right on the cobblestones on a world-class point break. It is a beautiful morning. So buenos dias, everyone. I'm Kaipo, along with a couple of surfers that don't mind some big waves. Felicity Palmentier, as well as Peter Mel. Felicity, how beautiful is this place?
Oh, it is stunning. This is my first time to El Salvador, and I am really happy to be here. I've come from the middle of winter in Western Australia, lots of rain, so I'm loving this heat.
Peter, the race for the final 5, we just got 4 more events left before we decide that. It's really heating up.
That's right, especially here in El Salvador. It's one of the warmest stops on tour for sure. You know, you got like 85 to 95 degrees probably throughout this event. But the waves, Punta Roca, I mean, this place is special. It's a childhood dream to come here finally. First time for me as well, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's such a wonderful country with a plethora of waves available here. We're going to zoom in on Punta Roca. That is the site, but there's much, much more to surf here at El Salvador. Taking a look high from outer space as we zoom into Central America and the country of El Salvador. Zooming further in on the town of La Libertad, which is the site in which Punta Roca is presented. We can see north winds. That's going to take you offshore. That is the favorable wind for this break. You can see the Chilama River as well, which creates this right-hand point. South-southwest swells. That's what it favors, and that's what lines up all of these right-handers, Pete.
Yeah, you got to love the fact that this place faces directly south. I mean, this time of year, you got the southern hemisphere. It's the wintertime. It's just pumping surf all the way up in here. It doesn't take much to make this wave good. I mean, a 3-4 foot swell is optimum. Yeah, obviously we love seeing some bigger surf, but this place is awesome. I mean, look at this right-hand point break.
Talking about the takeoff spot, we identified Mama Roca, which is a group, a cluster of rocks, really evident on low tide that the surfers are going to have to deal with, Flick.
Yeah, it's a beautiful right-hand point break, and I think all our point break specialists are going to be rubbing their hands together for this wave.
Yeah, I mean, I think front side, back side, it's not going to matter. It's such a perfect wave. But the big question is, are we going to get ready? Are we going to get going day 1 of the waiting period? For that, I'm going to ask AJ McCord. She's with Tours and Competition, Travis Logie.
That's right. I'm standing by with Travis. You've been watching the water all morning, so go ahead and give us the call for this first day of the window.
Yeah, no worries, AJ. We're going to go on hold and make another call at 7:30 for a possible 8:05 start. There's great conditions. It's just a little bit inconsistent, and we're at the top of the tide right now. So we just want to let that tide go out a little bit and have another look at 7:30.
What is the tide going out going to do to the waves so that you can make that decision?
Well, it seems like at Punta Roca, at the top of the tide and at the bottom of the tide, the sets seem to slow down a little bit. And when they come, there's some unbelievable waves, but it's one wave sets kind of every 20 minutes. And according to the local gurus, as the tide drops out slightly, it gets more consistent. And if that happens, we'll go for sure.
All right, so we'll check back in just about half an hour. Back to you guys.
All right, so we're on hold. Of course, here we have like about a 6-foot of variance in the tide. So the tides will come into play, Peter. Also, what comes into play is what we're looking at as far as the future. And for that and the forecast, let's call up our good friends over there at Surfline. Pete, talk us through the Surfline forecast.
Well, we've got a pulse of swell on its way, right? I mean, we already see good surf out there. It is just slightly inconsistent, but if you look at that first pulse there, that's going to be through the weekend. And with that, it's that 4 to 5 foot range, 4 to 6 foot, which is optimum here for this break. When it gets a little bit big, it kind of starts to move off the point a little bit. We like that kind of mid-range size. Here's through today. We're going to see a little bit of dropping. Kind of a little deceiving there with that 3 to 4 foot drop off of the afternoon, because it feels like we're going to start to see that new swell. Just the bigger sets will start to arrive. The wind's looking pretty good there. We're going to have that little side shore breeze through the afternoon, but optimum here, it doesn't matter. It's a right-hand point break. It's got coping. It's got everything for us. Looking through into the weekend, pretty good stuff though. That 5 to 7 foot through the weekend. That stuff's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Looks like a lot of opportunity there, Flick.
Yeah, it does. I think Saturday and Sunday are definitely going to be the pick of it. Sunday especially, 5 to 7 foot in the morning. So we're going to see some nice conditions and light winds pretty much all week.
Winds favorable. We have all kinds of swell coming through the entire waiting period, so we can pick and choose when we're going to run. Last year, coming into this event, Steph Gilmore was below that final 5 cut line, Flick. And we're going to find out more about Steph Gilmore. Can she get above that final 5 cut line? We'll talk to Steph Gilmore on the other side of this break. Curl Pro Portugal in just her 3rd CT event.
Marks out in front, jams it again. She is on her way and seals the deal.
Molly Picklum is your Hurley Pro Sunset Beach champion, and she's feeling it right now.
Two-time world champ Tyler Wright, end section approaching. She just hammers it. Tyler Wright has done it in back-to-back seasons.
This has been an incredible ride for the Hawaiians so far.
Wow. Beautiful turn there.
Carissa Moore takes out the Surf Ranch Pro.
Of our current final 5 for the women, and we have Carissa Moore, the 5-time world champ, in the yellow jersey with the lead at that race into the final 5 and that Rip Curl WSL finals. But some interesting characters as well. Another veteran, 2-time world champ, Tyler Wright. She's in the mix, but I like the youngsters coming up. The Caitlin Simmers, Molly Picklum, Caroline Marks, Flick.
Yeah, I do too. I like the youngsters. Obviously, we've got the veterans up there, Tyler and Carissa. But for me, I'm interested to see how Caroline's going to do. Obviously, she's the only goofy there, coming to a right-hand point break, and her backhand is her strongest point, I'd say. It's in her wheelhouse.
Yeah, she, Caroline, semifinal finish here last year at Punta Roca. We'll see how she does here. Let's take a look at our women's format. This is our post-mid-season cut format where we start with only 12 women, 3 surfers in each heat in this opening round that we're anticipating. First in the opening round advances straight to the quarterfinals, second and third into the round of 16, in which the surfers, or the elimination round, I'm sorry, where the surfers go head-to-head on their matchups. These matchups in this elimination round, first place onto the quarterfinals, second place leaving with a 9th place finish, and that is not going to help you when you look at the final 5, Pete.
Well, that's right. I mean, ultimately right now, I mean, that first place in that opening round, getting into the quarterfinals, isn't quite a result. If you're looking at the WSL Final 5, you want to get yourself into those semis. That's the top 4 surfers, so that's going to be a real result.
Yeah, and, you know, looking for a real result at this event is 8-time world champ Steph Gilmore. She's below that final 5 cut line at the moment. Same situation she was in last year. Can she do it here? I don't know. Let's take a look at Steph Gilmore and how she was able to perform here, Flick, at Punta Roca, because she likes this place. She took the win last year.
She does, and I talk about surfers having romances with waves. John's got one with Margaret River, and I think Stephanie Gilmore has a romance with right-hand point breaks. She just surfs with so much speed, power flow, so much style, and yeah, I love to watch it. I think, you know, this is the... since she's been on tour, she's won an event every year, except for 3 years when she was injured. So it's not like Steph to not win an event yet. So will history repeat itself?
You like boards, Pete? This is where Steph Gilmore found Cash Cow number 2.0.
Yeah, and she's going to be able to do that again. I think we watched her warm up, and it's looked solid.
Well, let's take a look at Steph Gilmore and her year last year and this year. She's in a similar situation as we descend upon stop number 7 on the championship tour. 2022, Peter, a slow start for Steph Gilmore, but back end of the year, she was able to get into that final 5 and perform at lowers for an 8th world title.
And a lot of it was due to this event right here. You look at what her results were in 2022. She sits at number 7 when she came into this event. That win catapulted her into the final 5 at that point. She kept it together. J-Bay obviously with that equal 3rd and a 5th at Tahiti. But this year, again, I think it's going to be a little tighter race. I think she's going to have to keep those results up, at least quarterfinals and above. You know, holding on. There's no throwaways anymore, right?
Yeah.
We're keeping all the points going all the way into it. So if she's going to want to get another 9th world title, she's got to get some big results in this back half.
Yeah, and no throwaways through this back half of the year. And if you're playing fantasy, make sure you lock your team before we start, because your team's lock. Once the event starts, there's no setting it again. Griffin Colapinto, he's in the yellow jersey. We're going to talk Griffin on the back end of this break.
you and you shoot it. Oh yeah, two, but then maybe give one to someone else.
Jack Robinson, officially your Billabong Pro Pipe Champ. Ethan Ewing, he's joined his mother's name on the legendary Bell Staircase. Felipe Toledo takes out the Hurley Pro here at Sunset Beach.
Joao Chianca is Rip Curl Pro Portugal champion.
Griffin Colapinto takes out the Surf Ranch Pro, presented by 805 Beer.
This is our current final five as we look at the rankings coming into stop 7 here in El Salvador. Jack Robinson, Ethan Ewing, defending world champ Felipe Toledo. Joao Chianca's been on a run this year, but the conversation, Griffin Colapinto taking a win at the Surf Ranch, and it's the first time, Peter, that Griffin Colapinto is wearing that yellow leader jersey.
Yeah, and you think about that right now, Final Five, every one of those surfers has had a win this season, right? So ultimately those wins are so big. You know, Griffin being that he won the last event at the Surf Ranch and defending champion here, you like his chances.
Yeah, you know what, Flick, let's take a look at our format, our post-cut format for the back half of the season. This is how it's going to play out. 24 men enter the opening round in 8 heats of 3 surfers each. The winner of the opening round heat moves straight into the round of 16, second and third place into that elimination round. That elimination round is when we go man-on-man competition. Pretty straightforward from there. First place moves on to the round of 16. Second place eliminated with an equal 17th place. As we reseed again into that round of 16, man-on-man, head-to-head matchups, and now we're in a bracketed conversation all the way through quarters, semis, and finally our champion. That's how we're going to play for the rest of the season, Peter. And another reminder is that there's no throwaway. So when we're racing for that final 5 position, every single one of your results count in these last 4 events.
And just like the women, and now it's about semifinals and above, right? That's where you want to be if you want to make the final 5. You know, that result is going to be an equal third or better.
Let's take a look at Griffin Colapinto, as he's coming in with that yellow leader's jersey, and he is our defending champ here, Flick, at Punta Roca.
Yeah, I really love what I'm seeing from Griffin, especially last year. He obviously got the win. He's fresh off a win at the Surf Ranch, and I think he's going to be coming into this event with a lot of confidence. For me, it seems like he's figured out or cracked the code on the winning formula, and yeah, I love what I'm seeing.
He's having fun, right? Ultimately, that's what it's about for the best surfers. When you're having fun, things come for you. He's having a good time. You can see right here, his celebrations were good. You know, his crew that he's rolling with is good. Mitch is here once again. You know, we saw Dad was hanging out. There he is under his leg right there after the big win from last year. You got to love Griffin in his approach. I mean, he's just a crowd favorite because he's having a good time, and you can see it.
Well, here's his challenge for the opening round, Peter. Griffin Colapinto, Callum Robson, the only surfer on tour who has earned a perfect 10 so far in 2023, and the exciting wild card local boy, hometown hero, Brian Perez, is going to be in that opening heat, round number 4. Brian Perez, also known as the Pink Panther, he is going to have a chance for him to really make a name for himself. Here he is entering the competition area, and let's hear a little bit from Brian Perez as his thoughts. Second year as a wild card here at the Surf City El Salvador Pro.
For me, last year was super special. Like to be in the city, that was my dream when I was a kid. Surf with the best surfers in the world, and this time I want to perform more. I want to give you all I have. The surf I surf every day. So for me, this time I want to be more focused, more. I always enjoy being in the water, but this time I want to do it more. You know, show my surfing. This is like more special for me, and then wanna surf better in this event. Last year I surfed good, but this year I wanna get better, you know.
Yeah, Perez always wanted to do better, and of course, you know, Felicity, we always see that the inspiration that the surfer can have, being kind of the hometown guy, but also the added pressure having to perform in front of his local audience.
Yeah, for sure. I also think it just depends on what kind of mindset he's coming into this event. You know, he talked about in that piece we just heard about looking up to his idols and sort of being in awe of them. So if he can flick the switch and sort of turn into, I want to beat these people now, I think obviously he's got the hometown advantage. He's going to know every cobblestone out there. So yeah, things are looking good.
Well, Peter, Brian Perez, he obviously has this wave wired. He's surfed it thousands of times. Let's take a look at one of his waves. This is from the free surf yesterday, Pete.
And look at that, just that overhead right-hand point break. And, of course, he got this place dialed. You know, there is the added pressure of being the hometown favorite, but I think that was kind of gone into the wayside now because he's already had an opportunity to learn how to surf in this type of a pressure atmosphere. Now, he wants to surf better. He wants to perform better. And I ultimately think that that's going to happen. And I think he's even more of a dangerous wild card this year than he was last year.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how he performs in that opening round. Well, we have more of the Dawn Patrol show coming your way. We're taking a quick break. We'll be right back with more Dawn Patrol right after this.
Ensíñenme mi caballo, porque esta noche hay parranda, porque esta noche hay parranda. Los negocios exitosos, pero esta noche es de gozo. Ay, mañana chambearemos, ay, mañana chambearemos.
Beautiful opening ceremony from Ballet Folklorico Nacional from the Ministry of Culture here in El Salvador. Welcome us to this wonderful place as we buzz by Punta Roca, world-class cobblestone right-hand point break, and that's the site of competition. Where we go today, we're going to find out a little bit later, but right now we're going to talk about some of the heats that we have upcoming. Felicity Palmentier with me, as well as Peter Melham Kaipo. We got some great heats in this opening round. We'll take a look at some of the women's heats, Peter, and what we anticipate. I want a couple of your favorites as we look at these 4 opening round heats.
I like heat number 3. You got defending champion up against world champion Tyler Wright, so 2 world champions there. Joanne DeFay looking on point in the warm-ups, so that heat for me kind of comes out glaring, but all of them look pretty darn good.
What about you, Flick? I like heat number 4 with the youngsters.
Yeah. For me, it's heat number 4. This is Battle of the Groms. Sort of Battle of the Groms. Tatiana, she's been on tour for a while, but they're just so hungry. They've showed this certain sort of assertiveness in the lineup, and I feel like there's going to be a bit of fire there.
Yeah. I like heat number 1, another young heat with Caroline Marks, Caitlin Simmers, and Gabriella Bryan. Caroline, 21. Gabriella, 21. Caitlin Simmers, just 17 years old. That's a young heat, and also that shows me kind of the future, what we have to look forward to in women's professional surfing, because all 3 of those surfers have potentially decades on tour ahead of them, Peter.
Yeah, it's so true. Again, but you look at all 4 of these heats, at this time of the year, this is the performers that have been going full bore for the most of the beginning of the season, and now going for that Final 5, that chase for the Final 5. I can't wait to see this first round get underway.
Speaking of Final 5, let's take a look at the men's heat and our world champion heats. These are our opening round heats featuring world champions, and we're going to start off with the 11-time world champion, heat number 1, Peter.
Yeah, I love that one. Kelly Slater's still going to be competing here, 51 years of age, up against guys like Ethan Ewing, who has won already. Matthew McGillivray, again, seeing warm-ups. I watched him, a warm-up wave that he had, blasting into the air. Matthew McGillivray on rail and being able to get above the lip.
Yeah, so I like that heat too. I like heat with Italo Ferreira as well as Gabriel Medina. So we're going to see if we're getting underway. Again, we're going to make a call, 7:45 local time, to see if we get underway today. And remember, lock in your fantasy surf team before we start. Check in, worldsurfleague.com for the call.